Hi, I'm back to share another week's worth of lessons with you. This time, our theme is talking about why do we celebrate holidays? And last week we talked about traditions. Holidays include a lot of our traditions. In the United States, a lot of our holidays, in fact, three of them are patriotic. We're very loyal to our country in the United States, and we're very proud of our red, white, and blue. So that is one reason why we have three patriotic holidays. They have a lot of the same traditions that go with them. So I'm just going to go over them really quickly. We just celebrated Memorial Day. And Memorial Day, the tradition is that we celebrate and think about people who gave their life in order for us to be safe. So, for example, you might think of someone in your family who died while they were fighting to keep us safe. Like in my family, I have two great uncles who went down in a ship during World War II. My family remembers them. The family that lives close to where their grave sites are clean the grave sites, and the rest of us just remember the stories that they used to tell. In other families, they do celebrate people who are still in the military. So the meaning of Memorial Day has changed a little bit, just like in the story we read last week, where the traditions changed for the little boy who went from having a family dinner to picnic and family together. They didn't change everything, but they changed a little bit of it. And that's what's happened with Memorial Day. The next patriotic holiday coming up will be July 4th. And our July 4th patriotic holiday is so that we can celebrate the birthday of the United States. It's a very old country compared to some, and it's not as old as other countries like Great Britain or France. But our country began on July 4th, 1776. Can you work with your family to figure out how old is our country? How many birthdays have we had? And the last patriotic holiday is called Labor Day. And Labor Day is usually right after we start school. We get a day off and we celebrate the people that work really hard in our country that make our country great. So the people that make sure that they're building things in our country and supplying what we need. For example, a long time ago, we had a lot of cars that were made in the United States. And all the people in those car making factories would be celebrated by their local communities. Who can you think of in our local communities works really hard to make our country great? Those are people that you can celebrate for Labor Day. So I wanted to read you our story about Happy Birthday USA, and it's going to talk a little bit about some of the traditions that we use to celebrate July 4th and why we use those traditions. So why do we celebrate the 4th of July? Whiz, boom, bang. That's the sound of fireworks that tear through the air. Colors light up the sky. Bands play and crowds roar. It's the 4th of July. Each year, people celebrate the birthday of the United States. It's a day for all of us to share. We enjoy favorite things such as fireworks, parades, and picnics. This kind of party has gone on for over 200 years. But how did this holiday begin? And you can see the kids in this picture are all dressed up with their stars and stripes so that they can celebrate. In 1775, our nation was small. It had just 13 colonies. A colony is like a state, but it's ruled by a leader far away. Remember when we talked about Thanksgiving and all the people that wanted to leave England because King George wasn't treating them very nice? The colonies were made of those people and their families that came to the United States, and they didn't like the king ruling them. and he could do fewer things to them because they were far away, but they decided that they didn't want him to rule them anymore. The people in the colonies did not like this. They felt the king's rules were not fair. They felt he did not care if they were happy. On June 1st, 1776, leaders of the young colonies met as a group called Congress. The people of the colonies wanted to split away from England, and the leaders wanted to unite to make new rules and write their own laws. The picture is Independence Hall in Philadelphia. When our country first began, our capital was in Philadelphia instead of Washington, D.C. And many rules for our nation were written in this building called the Independence Hall. Thomas Jefferson led the team that wrote the Declaration of Independence. They wrote it in just a few weeks. It declares, remember, declare means to state something really strongly, that the people should be free to be happy and they should be free from rulers far away. The writers wanted to choose their own kind of government. And in the caption down here, you can see a statue of Thomas Jefferson. Oh, remember we talked about different kinds of art? Making statues is one kind of art. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Years later, he became the third president of the United States. Where have you seen his face before? What were we studying when we saw Thomas Jefferson's face? See if you can figure it out. Thomas Jefferson and other leaders in Congress talked about how to split away from England. This picture is another example of art. Someone painted what it looked like inside the Hall of Independence or Independence Hall in Philadelphia when all of the leaders from our country were together trying to figure out what would the new rules be. Leaders started to sign the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. They sent it to the King of England. He was surprised that the colonies dared do this. He did not want the colonies to be free. The Declaration of Independence was first read out loud on July 4th. Music blared and bells rang. Remember the bell? The Liberty Bell? 1 year later, fireworks lit up the sky on July 4th. This was just the beginning. It took a long fight for our nation to be free, but it would not happen without the Declaration of Independence. They have a picture of the Declaration of Independence. You can see the words that Thomas Jefferson and his team wrote and the signatures of all the leaders that say we want to be free of the king. It told the King George that the 13 colonies wanted to be free from England. There's a museum in Washington, D.C. where you can still see this document. We celebrate our freedom and the Declaration every year on the 4th of July. It's no wonder it's our nation's favorite holiday. Why do you think the author told you about the Declaration of Independence and shared information about July 4th? Can you figure out if it's to entertain you, to teach you something, or to persuade you to change your mind and do things differently? Why did the author tell you about King George? How do you know that Happy Birthday USA is nonfiction? And why do we celebrate the 4th of July? I hope you can answer all those questions. And if not, come to my Zoom meetings and I'll give you a hand.